Hello.
Hi there.
How are you on this fine Saturday?
I am ready to go. We are back with a vengeance.
And we're talking about 4 movies, all from 2026.
Yes, all new releases this week.
Yes. And I guess we'll start with the first one.
Let's jump right in.
We watched Avatar Aang, which it definitely had. Yes, Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender. I knew there was a colon and some more words there.
One of my favorite shows. I think I was maybe like middle school or high school age when that show was wrapping up. Did you grow up with The Last Airbender?
I did. I remember being in elementary school and playing Avatar on the playground with my friends.
Oh, that's fun. I never got to get that involved. We do have the whole series on the shelf.
It's a great show. I revisited it as a teenager, and I've definitely watched it again since I've been an adult, and it's just such a good show.
It's so good, and I love rewatching one of my personal favorite episodes of The Great Divide.
Not The Great Divide. You're trolling.
Well, yes, but it's not a bad episode. Cactus Juice is the best episode.
It's not bad, but compared to the rest of the show, it's not great. Does it even have anything to do with the rest of the storyline?
Yes.
How?
It adds to the theme of Aang being a conciliator and bringing disparate groups who are feuding together. And it's showing his avatar-ness. Boom.
I disagree. It has nothing to do with the plot.
All right, Korra lover.
I love Korra.
Never seen it.
That's homophobic.
No. It's racist, not homophobic.
It's both.
I kid. We have both series on the shelf
We
here.
do.
I just haven't watched Korra yet.
We have to watch Korra. I like Korra. I think Korra has its flaws. The biggest flaw, I'm going off on a tangent now, but that's okay. The biggest flaw that I think of, other than the first half of season 2 being a little lackluster, the end of season 1, you kind of have this big consequence and then it just goes away right at the very end.
Yeah.
When it would have been more fun to explore that, I do think they tried to do that again in season 2 and it was more successful.
Okay.
But season 1 was made to be a mini series. It was supposed to wrap up with a little bow and then it did well and then they did more seasons. So I understand why they tried to wrap it up with a little happy ending bow in season 1. And I think they made up for having more lasting consequences in the following seasons.
Okay, makes sense. I need to watch through Korra. I've rewatched through the first series a couple times now, so I was very excited when they announced the new movie. I do wish, now I'm a stickler for, in certain IPs, in the universe they're creating, how they release things. And I understand that this movie's probably been a long time coming. It's been, a decade plus.
I think this is the first release from Avatar Studios.
Makes sense. I wish it would be more they had focused on the material building off of the first series and then maybe leading into Korra instead of kind of going back and forth. Does that make sense? Because there's, I'm sure, no mention of the events that took place in this movie at all in the sequel series because it didn't exist yet.
There's not. And there was one plot in Korra. I won't spoil it for you.
Okay.
There was one plot in this movie that I thought was similar to something that happens in Korra. And I won't spoil it for you since you haven't finished Korra. But it did make me think a little bit, how do those two things go hand in hand? And I haven't rewatched Korra in a minute, so maybe I'd be able to finagle something in my brain about how they're similar.
Sure. I was super stoked when they announced this movie. I'm glad we got to see more grown-up adult versions of the gang. And even just from the trailers, the animation in this movie is beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Probably one of the better animated looking movies that I've ever seen.
I'm sad that people who wanted to go see this in a theater don't really have the chance, but I did learn they did a short, I think 2-week theatrical run in LA and New York, which does qualify it for the Oscars.
I'm excited for it. Yeah, I thought they really dropped the ball and that was a missed opportunity. I would not be surprised if this gets some nominations.
Paramount doesn't care. And Paramount is not going to do an Oscar campaign because they've said since they've kind of, become a little more bootlicky that they don't care about the Oscars and they aren't going to really do campaigns anymore. We even saw last year that Mission Impossible movie didn't get any nominations. It usually gets in for visual effects and sound and all that fun stuff.
True. Paramount, what are you doing?
I don't think Paramount had a single Oscar nomination last year. They just don't care to campaign.
And you think that they would, because I feel like prestige is such a big factor for these big studios, and it shouldn't have to be, but I mean, clout is so much in that media game or entertainment
I think
industry.
It is for these filmmakers. If I'm Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg, am I about to take my new movie to a studio that's not going to campaign it? No.
Or what better way to show the potential of the new Avatar studios than your first release is getting nominations for the biggest awards?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the animation quality is definitely deserving of recognition. It's gorgeous. I think it's the prettiest animated movie I've seen all year. I don't know if we've seen that many animated movies this year,
Not
though.
really.
But we've seen Hoppers. I liked Hoppers, but the animation style here, it's
clean.
It's beautiful.
Very colorful. The soundtrack in this as well was gorgeous. It lined up with everything perfectly. Thought the voice acting was good. I do wish that they had maybe brought back your Dante Bosco or anyone else from the original series. I understand, it's been a long time. Voices do not sound exactly the same.
Listen.
Sokka, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's 2026. We don't really want white people playing these characters anymore, but Dante Bosco could have still come back.
Absolutely. You know what? Just AI, all the voices.
No.
Perfect.
No.
I want adult Aang with his little child voice throughout the whole movie.
Absolutely not.
Fine.
You're a troll.
Yes. I need to keep you grounded. I am the antagonist of this show. But yes, we get a whole new story. The gang is a little bit grown up. They're in their Republic City doing Avatar stuff. All the nations are at peace.
I did like seeing the, grand opening of Republic City.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because in Korra, Republic City, it's very established.
And I think in the comics, they show the establishment of that, and it kind of fills in the gaps a little bit. Mm-hmm. I will say, we're missing some characters in this movie that I would have liked to see. Maybe we'll see them in future projects.
You kept saying justice for Suki
Where's
the whole
Suki?
movie.
We saw someone who looked like Suki a few times in the background. No lines, no nothing, no mention.
I think the biggest thing, too, is Aang is saying, and with the help of my friends, and it shows a little, painting of him and his friends, and Suki is not there.
Yeah, what gives?
Because Suki was there with the gang at the end, with the battle. Suki is important.
Played a major part, was Sokka's boo through the whole last season.
I think this movie was trying to imply a Sokka Toph thing, which...
I'm okay with that.
When I was into Korra, back when I think I was a teenager. I was still on Tumblr.
A lot of theories.
I do remember a theory that Sokka was, I believe, Toph's second daughter's father. Because they do establish in Korra that Toph's daughters have different fathers.
Yes.
So I would buy that.
We get a whole new story. Aang discovers another Airbender who's been kind of frozen in time, sort of like he was.
Dave Bautista.
Did a great job voicing this character.
I love Dave Bautista.
He's so subtle, but he's got such power to his voice acting, his regular acting. I think he's killing it.
Genuinely a great actor. If you have to pick one of those wrestler turned actors, Dave Bautista is by far the best one. He's a genuinely great actor.
I think you can tell, or at least I pick up on, he really cares about his craft.
He does. And he seems like a good dude.
Not that your Rocks and John Cena's of the worlds don't, but
I think
I just like this more.
Dave Bautista's morals align more with my morals than
Fair.
The Rock or John Cena's.
Fair enough. But yes, we get a whole new adventure. We get some of my favorite, really the main characters of the show, Appa and Momo, coming in clutch once again.
Momo finally got something to do. Momo finally helped. That's one thing that I always say about the original series is that Momo didn't do shit.
We are going to rewatch the series, and I'm going to pause and yell at you every time Momo does something beneficial, which is every episode, don't get me wrong.
Momo's just there to be cute, and don't get me wrong, I love Momo. Momo is cute, but Momo, like, Appa helps. Appa is an asset to them. Momo's just there, but I love Momo, don't get me wrong. But Momo actually did something to help in this movie. I was happy about that.
Momo is the key member of Team Gang. But yes, we get lots of cool bending shots. I think the airbending animation and portrayal was really cool and unique. They introduced a lot of new techniques and elements and stuff going on there. It was interesting.
Now about the bending, let me tell you. Look, Katara.
Oh.
I know that blood bending is illegal.
Is it though?
But I think in these situations, you need to do it. You need to blood bend. It's better to blood bend than to die, you know?
Yes, when your friends are getting literally just killed in front of you, you can do the blood bending.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking during this movie is where's the blood bending?
You don't even need a blood bend necessarily. Just make all the water inside your opponent come outside.
I mean,
Done.
In Korra, the airbenders are like pulling air out of people's lungs.
I know, badass. I will say, I wanted more interaction between our team members, some catching up. Seems like they haven't seen each other in a little while. Gangs reunited after maybe a little bit. I will say, probably just for the sake of the movie, it made it seem like they were kind of underpowering Aang in order for him to have obstacles to overcome. Because at the end of the last season, he's badass, fully realized Avatar. But in the first scene, he's getting his ass beat by a bunch of non-benders. Come on.
I think he had his guard down because they were non-benders and he wasn't expecting to be ambushed.
That's true.
But I do agree that I would have liked to see more of the gang interacting, but then I kind of pulled it back and was like, well, the movie is called Avatar Aang, so we're really focused on him. And then you were saying about that. What were you saying about that?
Well, since they've launched Avatar Studios, we have a new show, new Avatar show that they've previewed a little bit that's coming out eventually, but I'm hoping that they're going to release maybe more movies or miniseries or shows for the other members, because this one was Avatar Aang, maybe the next movie will be Fire Lord Zuko. We see some maybe Azula in there, or Papa Fire Lord from the last series, the first series, voiced by Mark Hamill. Bring him back, why not? Fill in some of the gaps there. I hope they don't leave this off as a one and done movie sort of thing and focus on shows. I understand if they do, but let's get some more. I think
that would be a great idea. And especially, I mean, they did just get all these new voice actors.
Yeah.
So you might as well use them.
Let's use them.
I would love to see Azula come back. Azula is a queer icon and I will hear nothing else but that.
Fair enough. I want the gymnast girl that was her best.
Ty Lee. Not and, her best friend. They were lovers. You know it.
Fair. And then, is it May or Mai?
I think it's May.
A.
See, Mai is what M. Night Shyamalan would call her.
Avatar Aang.
Sokka.
Ooh. Yeah. Katara. No, there was definitely a nostalgia factor to this, but I think they explored a lot of fun new elements. They did a lot touching on like the airbender culture and all these new powers and really cool looking new locations. Again, the animation and the sequences, especially coupled with the soundtrack, fantastic.
I loved it.
Top
and
notch.
The same guy did the score here who did the score for the show.
Oh, lovely.
And the score has always been top notch. He did the score for Korra too. There's a score sequence in, I think it's the season 2 finale of Korra. I still listen to it sometimes. It's beautiful.
My favorite was in the movie. They're trying to find this Airbender shrine thingy, and they're going through the place with all the tornadoes. Finally get through that, and they hit the like eye of the storm. They're trying to like, oh, how do we get through this big hurricane wall? And they open up the tunnel, and just the kind of operatic music with like the light flooding in on the screen. Beautiful. Loved it.
This movie did make me want to go back and rewatch the show.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought it was great. I had a really fun time. Now, again, this movie did have one of its core themes being, we can't kill people. And that was a theme in the original series as well. It's like Aang didn't want to kill the Fire Lord. He just took his bending away. And look.
And we didn't get much or any energy bending from Aang. I wanted to see a little bit more of that.
I've said this before. I think I was even saying this. Was I saying this last week with Terminator? I understand that the moral thing is to not kill people. But where we are today and in society today, I am so jaded. Okay, well, with these really evil people, wouldn't everyone just be better off?
And when the antagonist's goal is like, I'm going to either destroy and or take over the world, you can do whatever needs to be done to stop them.
Like,
That's understandable.
With Fire Lord Ozai, his goal is genocide.
Burn down half the world, yeah.
And with this Dave Bautista character, his goal is to destroy an entire city with all these people in it.
Yes, we're going to create a new air empire and take over the world. Sounds fun to me. On paper, sounds good, but don't be a dick about it. He was being a dick about it. Even towards the end, I liked the argument from Aang's side when he's fighting Dave Bautista. I don't remember the character's name, so he's just Dave Bautista to me. He's like, why did you go this route? We could have just made a bunch of new airbenders with this special staff and everything would have been fine and peaceful, but no, had to be violent about it.
Do you think Sokka would have taken airbending power if Aang had offered?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And I really did love the going into Aang and feeling so protective of his culture that was essentially genocided away.
And it does carry through with how he is kind of remembered in Korra. He's very focused on his one son who has airbending powers versus his other children. He's kind of seen as like, not an absentee father necessarily, but not perfect.
Aang is not a very good dad. Aang has flaws. And I think that's a lot of people's problem with Korra is they don't like that Aang was given flaws, but I like it. I think it's realistic. And I think this movie especially really ties into that because he does really want to bring his culture back. And I think even the fact that Tenzin is the youngest kid, it's so obvious what was going on. We have to keep having kids until there's an airbender.
Absolutely.
And like what his oldest kid is a non-bender. How do you think he must have felt his whole childhood, you know?
Right. I do wish, like, I love when a main character is just overpowered. I wanted to see more of an overpowered in this movie, but like I said, it makes sense when at times he's taken off guard or on the back foot. But some of the story elements, you know, who's going to be the ultimate bad guy, it's kind of predictable, of course.
Oh, yeah.
There were no big twists or anything, and that's fine.
I don't even think Avatar was really about big twists and such, you know? So yeah, that didn't bother me.
Yeah, nothing leaves you guessing necessarily. And like I said, that's fine. I thought it was a very enjoyable experience. I'd like to watch it again, maybe do a watch through the series and cap it off with the movie.
Yeah.
What would you rate Avatar Aang movie?
You know what? I'm going to give it a 90%. I really had a good time.
Not bad. Let's see. I'm feeling a solid 88.
And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 89%.
Ooh, all right.
So right in between our scores.
Us. Perfect.
I'm going to say that is appropriately hyped. Worth the hype for sure.
Absolutely worth the hype. It sucks the movie got leaked, but I'm excited to see what else is going to come out of Avatar Studios. I think this is a really solid first entry.
I feel bad for Avatar Studios that happened, but also like fuck Paramount.
Absolutely. I'm glad they got a limited theatrical run, and this would definitely be a movie if going to a movie theater for us made more sense, location and financial wise. The soundtrack and everything on a big screen would be a great viewing experience.
You'd rather watch this in a movie theater than The Odyssey.
1000%. But yes, worth the hype. If you're a fan of this series, you're gonna love this. I know I did. All right. Strong first contender in this episode. What do we got next?
Next, we watched Maddie's Secret, which is John Early's directorial debut, I believe.
Star of Search Party.
I love John Early. I think he's really funny every time he shows up in something. We just saw him in The Comeback recently. So funny there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the trailer for this movie, and I was a bit apprehensive, but overall I was like, I have trust, because sometimes when we're dealing in something where, John Early, he is playing Maddie. He's doing drag and playing Maddie.
Yes.
And that era in the 90s, 2000s, where you'd have a movie with a man in drag, and it was kind of there as a way to make fun of women's bodies, or make fun of a woman in some way. Now, the trailer wasn't giving that, but I just think I'm a little triggered from that characterization in those times. But I gotta say, that wasn't an issue at all here. I thought John Early gave a great performance.
I agree.
I think he was respectful. He wasn't demeaning women or doing anything in a way that wasn't honest. It was a really great performance.
Very, very.
This movie, too, it was about a very serious topic, of course. It's about bulimia. That's Maddie's secret, is bulimia.
Yes, at first I thought this was going to be more of a comedy, kind of based off the trailer.
I did, too.
And it has its comedic moments, don't get me wrong, but it's more serious, and you're right. This is addressing some serious issues and showing some very human characters dealing with it, struggling, finding ways to overcome some of their issues. It's an interesting take.
This movie balanced tone really well, too. Because,
it did.
You hear a movie is about something as serious as an eating disorder, and that it's comedy. It's like, okay, are we going to be making jokes that might not be the best? No. That wasn't happening at all. And it was serious when it needed to be serious, but I think overall there was this melodramatic vibe and tone to the whole thing, which made it not feel as dour.
I agree. You're right. Parts were sort of soap opera-y a little bit. Over the top. I thought it fit together pretty well. And to top it off, we got Maddie is a chef, an aspiring chef, whose talents are maybe underappreciated, at least at first. And as Maddie's making her way up through this kind of chef food content creation company, maybe something like that.
She essentially works at Tasty. They even say it's Condé Nast and Disney, which is the exact same thing.
Okay.
So it's definitely spoofing an actual, food, YouTube channel, social media thing, who they got in trouble for treating their employees very poorly, especially their female employees. So that's interesting as well.
Well, that tracks with this movie.
Yeah, because the boss guy, he is very creepy.
He's from I Think You Should Leave and Friendship. He's a comedy guy.
Yeah, he's the guy in Friendship who I believe was playing the veteran who just starts going off on Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
He's funny when I see him pop up in things. Yeah. I loved Friendship.
And we get Maddie is she married or engaged to her?
She's married.
Married, okay. And we see a lot of instances where Maddie's not wanting to address her eating disorder. And for example, when she's caught in the bathroom, she covers it up. I think it's just a straight up lie.
It is.
That she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And tells her husband that instead of addressing the food issue. And that's a whole thing.
Well, because when you have an issue like that, it's very much hide it at all costs.
Absolutely.
So even though it doesn't make sense rationally when you're in a situation like that, it's
I get it.
Oh yeah, it's much better for me to just say I'm pregnant than for someone to think that I have bulimia, because then they might try to make me stop. You even see she'll kind of binge eat food and then hide it.
Right. I did appreciate that this movie was portraying the damage that excessive bulimia has on people's bodies when they then try to exercise extensively afterwards, and how that can cause, like Maddie goes through, I think, cardiac arrest.
Yes.
One of her friends in rehab dies after exercising when they're not supposed to because it causes too much strain on an already damaged body. I think that's a part of eating disorder or bulimia that's not addressed enough.
It is, because, I mean, whenever you see someone in their early 20s and they're dying of a heart attack, it's usually caused by something like that.
Sure. That being said, I did like all the very interesting dishes and cooking sequences that they showed. I love a good chef's work in film.
I liked that she was going for a job as the food stylist on, what was it, like the boar.
Yes,
on the boar.
They are maybe picking a little fun at the bear.
Well, because then the showrunner guy, the way he was styled, I go on the internet, I type in to see what Christopher Storer looks like, and I'm like, that's him.
Yep,
That's him.
Yep. Then we have Maddie's best friend.
I know the actress is Kate Berlant.
We're gonna go with
who
Kate.
Is very close with John Early. They've done like comedy shows.
Okay.
They've been writing partners. Dina.
And Dina is definitely trying to stay best friends with Maddie almost at any cost. So, for example, when Maddie goes into rehab, Dina, I think, fakes her eating disorder to get in there with her. But then it also shows she's got her own issues that she's dealing with, maybe kind of more with like anger and self-harm, things like that.
Yeah, like mental health.
Absolutely.
And then they also kind of not even imply, I think it's clearly stated, Dina's got a thing for Maddie.
Right. This movie was not afraid to show people dealing with some serious issues and then hitting very low points with those issues.
Yeah, but nothing ever felt like so dour and dramatic that I was like, oh, I don't like watching this, you know?
Right. It's not a tough watch or anything like that. It's serious, but not like I need to turn this off.
John Early did a great job with tone. I'll be really interested to see next time he directs a movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all the shots and camera work, all the actors did a great job. It was a well done, very good directorial debut.
I loved all the dance sequences.
Yeah, that was great.
I want to go to an exercise class like that.
This movie had a good mix of, like we said, serious, but then light and fun, just showcasing strong friendships and relationships. The husband obviously really cares for Maddie and is very concerned about her well-being. It was a healthy portrayals and then mixed in with people and their own shortcomings and how they kind of navigate, just a lot of life's big issues.
Exactly. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Not bad at all. Like I said, excited to see what else John Early has to offer us. Maddie's Secret, not bad at all.
I'm going to give Maddie's Secret, let's go 85.
I was thinking 85 as well. I'll match you on that one.
And on Rotten Tomatoes, 87%.
All right, we're getting
worth the hype.
We're pretty accurate this episode.
So yeah, Maddie's Secret, definitely worth the hype. Check it out. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's different, but in a really good way.
Yeah, if anything about this movie makes you feel apprehensive before going in, I would say you don't have to worry about that. Because
Absolutely.
Just the way that the tone is, and I think the respect that John Early has for the topic and he's playing a woman, so for women, it's great.
Yeah, give it a watch.
All right, the next movie.
Number 3.
The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Now, I don't think either of us had watched The Devil Wears Prada 1.
No, but I get the idea.
Heard plenty about it. Meryl Streep is pretty iconic in this series, I believe. We got Stanley Tucci doing his thing. Anne Hathaway's great in anything.
You remember when Anne Hathaway said, "You remember I was the fat one"?
Oh, yes. Fat, ugly Anne Hathaway. Take off her glasses. Oh, now she's a princess. That I don't buy. I think is a remnant of some early 2000s trends that were incorrect. They were wrong then, wrong now. We can see that as so ridiculous. It's almost just kind of comical to me, at least.
Yeah, I do think with that line, they were kind of poking fun at that.
Exactly. Little self-awareness isn't a bad thing.
No. Because, yeah, Anne Hathaway, That's just inaccurate. And it was kind of like when we watched that romance movie she did where she was with the pop star, I believe it was Jeff from Bottoms.
Yes.
The whole time she's like, why would someone want to be with me? I'm in my 40s. And then you look at her and she's like one of the most beautiful people you've ever seen in your life.
I'm in my 40s, just so fat and ugly and old. Girl.
You own a mirror.
Hey, maybe not. Maybe she's got bad vision or something. I don't know.
Look, Anne Hathaway's charming. I'm never mad when I'm watching her on screen. But with that being said, this movie, it felt like an ABC Family original movie with a large budget.
It did. This very much felt to me like if you enjoyed the first movie, the creators were like, hey, here's some more. Is it as impactful or necessary? I mean, again, I haven't seen the first one. Maybe kind of viewing it all as a whole package, it's great, but it seems to me one of these times where you have a sequel come along in a series. It comes in way too late. It's been, what, upwards of 20 years since the first one?
I never watched The Devil Wears Prada because it came out when I was like under 10 years old.
Right,
you know?
Right. I'm curious, why did they do that now other than maybe they just wanted to get in Meryl Streep, why they still can? And
Meryl Streep is kicking just fine.
That's true. That's true. Her character was so mean to Anne Hathaway at the beginning. I would have, in those shoes, I'd be like, okay, I'm not having anything to do with you.
Here's the issue, though, that I found with Meryl Streep's character.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie, it's called The Devil Wears Prada, and you kind of hear about all these awful things she did in the first movie. And I know she got an Oscar nomination for the first movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think that character is supposed to be like really, really nasty. And she was mean here, but I wouldn't go as far as to say the devil, you know?
Right.
I think she needed to be worse. I don't want to be too offensive, but I do think in this case, it would work for the character. Because there was like one scene where she said something about, do we really need all of she said like body negative, and then her assistant's like body positive.
Yeah.
Like, yes, body positive models. But then you go to the fashion show and there's not really much size diversity in the models. So it's like, why was that even a thing? You gotta follow through with that. Also about that fashion show scene, I'll say.
Yes.
So one of my favorite parts of this movie was I did love there were multiple new Lady Gaga songs in this movie. And Lady Gaga even shows up and performs one. And I love Lady Gaga. I get it. You want to put the camera on Lady Gaga. But this was the only scene in the movie that was a fashion show, a fashion showcase, something like that. Because that's what the movie is about. It's about fashion and the fashion industry. I think we needed to see more of the clothes because we would kind of just see a model in some clothes for half a second and then cut back to Lady Gaga. And so I didn't like the way that the fashion show sequence was cut.
Agreed. You had this kind of grand showcase set up. Lady Gaga's in the middle of this big stage and all of the models are doing the walk around her, but it's right on her face most of the time. I feel like a lot of this movie was just sort of showcasing, like, we're jumping from fancy location to fancy location. We're in Milan now, back to New York, high-classy stores, just kind of all over the place. Just like it was just trying to showcase fancy things, and then the story was sort of an afterthought.
I remember thinking, oh, well, maybe that fashion show, it's cut this way because there's going to be a bigger, more extravagant one at the end of the movie, and then there wasn't.
No. A lot of the plot was based around trying to save like the company or the business that they're all working for, I think. Something along those lines.
Yeah, it's essentially Vogue magazine.
Yeah, I did appreciate... I didn't know Emily Blunt was in this series at all, but her and Anne Hathaway were definitely just lusting after each other the whole time. It was great.
Like, they should have been the love interests.
Hey, maybe something off screen. There was a lot implied.
In my head, that is what happened off screen.
Could be wishful thinking, but hey, let's check out the fan fiction and see.
I think the main character of this movie should have been Caleb Heron.
I agree. Stanley Tucci's here. He's fine. He's kind of like a fatherly figure a little bit for Anne Hathaway, maybe.
Yeah. And then again, Simone Ashley just wasted.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was essentially the new, I guess, assistant for Meryl Streep.
Yeah, like what Anne Hathaway was in the first movie, but...
She got cut from F1. She didn't have anything to do in this movie, really.
It's like they just wanted to get this cast together. And again, the story was sort of like, let's get everyone back together and then try to figure out what the movie's going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Just kind of out of order in my mind. I don't know why this was necessary, you know?
I don't think it was. I didn't care for this.
I think I'm jaded about it, but I've seen just these sequels for these really good standalone movies from, 20 plus years ago trying to recapture that magic, and I think they're going about it in the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree. And then everything about this movie just looked so flat. It didn't even feel
Kinda
like
did.
a theatrical release.
You're
Other
right.
than the fact that I know a lot of these locations and clothes cost a lot of money.
Right.
Like I said, it felt like a TV movie. That's how the plot made me feel.
It did. Again, the plot is almost sort of an afterthought.
It was kind of like they were saying AI bad, but they didn't want to go in hard enough about why AI bad because a big company made this movie, so they probably don't want a big movie taking down AI. That's why Luca Guadagnino's Artificial got dropped by Amazon.
Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, if you're going to have your characters talk about taking stances on important issues, actually show it.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like at some point we could go back and rewatch the first movie to see how it compares. I'm sure the first one is quite loved by a lot of people.
I would have to imagine the first one's much better than this.
Yeah, this movie, I mean, it's not bad. Again, if you love the first movie, you'll probably love this. But if you're outside of that, it's kind of skippable, honestly.
I would say this is very skippable. We watched it on Hulu, so maybe if you just need something to put on in the background
Sure.
and you want to look at Anne Hathaway, throw it on. But
Some fancy clothes, even though they were dressing her kind of like she was supposed to be Little House on the Prairie towards the end of the movie there. I don't really get what we were doing with that.
I thought they were dressing her very well at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
I remember she would walk in the room and I'd be like, oh, I would wear that.
Yeah.
And then as the movie went on, you're right, the clothes got worse. More Little House on the Prairie, as you say.
They needed to show that evolution just like exactly in reverse.
And then they made this big deal too about she was looking for a dress to wear to like the Hamptons or something.
Yeah.
Stanley Tucci is showing her dresses and she sees one and she's like, oh, that one's pretty. I want that one. He's like, no, that one's too nice. You can't wear it. And he's like, fine, but don't stain it. And then we didn't see the dress. And then it cuts to her walking through the streets of New York, getting on the bus in a dress. And in my head, I wasn't even like, oh, that's the dress. I thought, oh, that's just what she's wearing on the bus. And then she's going to put the dress on for the event. No, that was the dress.
That was it. Yes. This movie didn't flesh out the things that were mentioned and then we never saw.
Well, there was that one scene when, for the fashion show, the musical guest had to drop out or something, and they were like, oh, if only someone had a connection, and Meryl Streep's like, no, I'm not doing that. And in my head, I was thinking, well, we've established her husband is a famous musician.
Yeah.
So she probably just doesn't want to have to, ask her husband to do this.
Pull that card, right?
But then it cuts. No, they were talking about Lady Gaga.
I think the best thing I got out of this movie was a few new Lady Gaga songs.
Yeah, I
Nothing
think
wrong
that's
about that.
gonna be what I take away from this. If this gets any Oscar noms, it'll be Lady Gaga original song. But yeah, I didn't care for it. I'm gonna give The Devil Wears Prada to a 57%.
Oh, I was thinking 67. Let's do it. I like all the actors in this. I think
Yeah.
everyone gave a good performance.
Of course.
It's just I don't know, they stitched together a bunch of random parts to try to form this movie and make it a sequel for something that was kind of self-contained from 20 plus years ago and do something new.
Yeah, I didn't care about a single thing happening in this movie.
No.
And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 78%, which I
Little
think
high.
is much too high. Not worth the hype for me.
No, again, if you like the first Devil Wears Prada, sure, you'll probably enjoy this. You get all the characters kind of doing their same things again, I guess. Otherwise, yeah, not quite worth it.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay for this. Like I
No,
said, we
don't spend
watched
money
it
on
on
this.
Hulu, so.
Can't win them all.
And our last movie,
Let's do it.
we watched the drama with Robert
Yes.
Pattinson and Zendaya,
I was excited
directed
for
by
this.
nobody.
By no one at all. We were intrigued from this trailer because it seemed like whatever the secret was that Zendaya was hiding that she blurts out for this drama is sick and twisted and was not wrong.
I've been very proud of myself that I've kept away from spoilers for this movie.
I was tempted, but yeah.
I knew whatever it was going to be wild, and I wanted to experience it with the movie. And yeah, it was great.
Yes, we get Zendaya is going to be marrying Robert Pattinson, and he's kind of shown us a bit of a creep at the beginning of the movie. He's like watching her and seeing the book she's reading in this coffee shop, and he's going to pretend that he read it as well and makes a big fiasco of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, and I guess trigger warning, but the
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert as well. We get Zendaya and Robert are with their couple friends. It's one of the Haim sisters.
Yes, Alana Haim, I believe.
And
then I've seen that other guy before.
I don't recall his name.
I think he was in Kinds of Kindness, maybe?
Okay. All right. But yes, they're telling each other, it comes up in their conversation, and this is before Zendaya and Robert are, they're engaged, but not married yet.
Yes, they're like going and testing the food and stuff for the wedding. The wedding's coming up.
They're saying, what's the worst thing you've ever done? And I thought the Haim sisters was worse, actually.
I thought hers
she
was
locked
worse,
a
too.
kid in like a little like closet or trunk or something in the middle of the woods and just left him as a child.
I loved the editing in this movie, and there's a good example in that scene. So she's telling the story, and she calls the kid slow.
Yes.
And, you know, that's not great. And it just cuts to Zendaya, and she makes this little face like, like, that's not really appropriate to say. But, like, you know, doesn't say anything, just makes the little face. And that felt so real, because I feel like I do that all the time in social situations.
But no, we get the big reveal. Again, spoiler / trigger warning. When she was a teenager, Zendaya was planning to shoot up her school. And
then she didn't do it.
Didn't do it. And it turns out the only reason she didn't do it is there was another mass shooting at their like local mall that same day.
Yeah, there was another mass shooting, and a kid in their class died. And then some of the kids in the class were like, well, we need to do something about guns, and invited her to be part of their, I guess, gun control activism club.
Right.
And then she made friends and didn't want to shoot up the school anymore.
Now, I'm a bit of a jaded bastard when it comes to a lot of things. I thought it wasn't the craziest thing for a teenager in America to have really bad thoughts like that.
I agree.
It probably happens a lot more often than we realize.
And they do cover that in the movie. And, you know, we're seeing...
It's like, she didn't do it, so... I mean, hey, teenagers do crazy things, okay?
Because, like...
I'm very different now than when I was 15 years old.
Exactly. Like, if you had told me that, my first thought would be, man, the system really failed you,
Absolutely.
didn't it?
Absolutely.
I think the important thing is that she didn't do it, you know?
I think the biggest failure shown here is that her father was really careless with his gun, because she was going to take his gun to the school. When her plan didn't play out, she takes the gun and she throws it in a swamp or a river or something like that. And the dad later thinks, oh, she was a really big anti-gun activist. That's why she got rid of it. I think it was more, oh, crap, I was planning this. I got to get rid of some of this evidence and stuff.
Well, because she said she even brought the gun to school.
Yes.
So I would imagine when she decided she wasn't going to do it, she just ended up ditching the gun. She deafened herself in one ear.
Practicing. Shooting it, yeah. Yeah, that plays into the movie a lot. Again, it's bad, but I'm like, hey, girl, you haven't shot up anything since then or thought about doing that.
Exactly. And then there's a little, again, the editing I thought was really, really top notch here. There's a little sequence where then Robert Pattinson is thinking about times when I guess he's perceived her to be aggressive. Like, you know, she yells at a guy who almost hits them at a crosswalk, which I think is fair.
Yeah, it's a crosswalk.
She slaps him during sex a few times.
Nothing wrong with that. if that's what you're into. But the Haim sister really takes issue with that. I think it was her cousin was, I think, paralyzed in a shooting. Understandable. I think they needed to lean into more, and they do touch on it a little bit, like, hey, you are a young teenager in a pretty broken system. It's not like really bad hormonal teenagers have really extreme thoughts. I don't know. Again, I'm jaded. That didn't seem as extreme to me as the other person confessing, oh yeah, I locked a kid in the woods.
They had to do a search party for him the next day because no one could find him.
Yeah, where someone was much more in danger of dying.
Let me tell you, the drama of this movie was that Haim sister.
It really was.
And, this goes along with the performance and I think the intention of the movie as well. I don't think she ever actually felt like strongly about these things. She just wanted to have a problem.
Yes, it did kind of seem like that.
Which is also very realistic for some people. I've known people like that for sure.
This is kind of in my mind, it's a very dark comedy. I was laughing at when they were showing Child Zendaya with her like makeup and holding the rifle, making her like suicide video or like
the
videos
YouTube,
like,
this is why I did it
and
videos.
Kept getting interrupted by like computer issues or stuff like that and having to keep redoing that. It was dark and funny and ridiculous. I enjoyed this movie.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Robert Pattinson, he's still kind of a creep in this movie, but he doesn't know how to process a lot of these things that are going on. It seems like
he's a little bitch baby.
Yeah, he's definitely like, I'm staying with Zendaya, but like he's, like you said, mentioning or reminiscing on times where it's like, oh, was she being extra violent or just like a normal person in these kind of memories, like the crosswalk situation.
It's like he can't let this go, even though, she's talked it over with him. They had a discussion about it. So at that point, either you need to let it go or you need to get out of the situation. He can't handle it so much that he goes and cheats on her.
Yes. Which I think is really the worst thing that happens in this movie.
Yeah. Again, not like she actually did it.
We get some, I wouldn't call it maybe like dreamlike scenarios, but we have a brief scene where I think it's Robert Pattinson is like envisioning if she's gone off the rails and has shot up like their wedding reception. He has like a dream or something about that.
And he keeps seeing in those little dream-like sequences her as a teenager, like with the gun and like him like taking pictures with her like that,
Right. I loved it. I thought it was fun.
I did too.
I can definitely understand how someone could see that and be like, take a big issue with that, but I don't know.
I talked about this before.
Yeah.
I'm into things that are a little twisted.
Absolutely.
I think you have an affinity for that as well sometimes.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with this movie touching on a very serious issue. In the lens of this movie, it's dark and twisted. It's kind of funny. It's ridiculous. And again, it's, I think, more a story of a system and maybe culture that has failed some young people, maybe giving them access to things they shouldn't have, and then also not being able to get help that's needed.
Mm-hmm. I think framing it like this gets people to listen and pay attention more than if you framed it in just a really uber dramatic way or even like, a serious documentary or something.
Oh, absolutely. If this had been like a mockumentary, it would have been so just dour and sad. But with this, I feel like Robert Pattinson definitely has some comedy chops to him. I was almost sort of getting a Mickey 17 vibe from his character a little bit.
Yeah.
I love it when he is just playing a really like uncomfortable, awkward character. He does his funny little voices.
Guy.
He's just a weird little guy sometimes, or he's able to play a weird little guy.
I'm so excited for Robert Pattinson as Chris Hansen.
Yes. Then he can do Chris Hansen, or he can be Batman. The dude's got range.
He does.
Where's his Oscar nomination?
Yeah, he's never been nominated. I'm hoping this year he gets nominated because he's in so many movies this year.
I definitely need to watch The Lighthouse at some point as well.
I love The Lighthouse, yeah.
All the actors do a great job. It's definitely, you get a bunch of different viewpoints on a very serious issue. And again, the drama, it's twisted, it's dark, it's funny. It's a fun ride.
And they cut to the photographer, and then I'll shoot you, and then I'll shoot you and the family.
Loved that. I loved that. We get
I love that actor. She was the best part of The Materialists, a movie that you hated and also was in Succession.
We get at the wedding or reception, the DJ plugs in the one of his chords and it pops the speakers really loud and like everyone like jolts. Very funny. Again, it's tongue in cheek for a very serious issue, and I think it was really doing a great job portraying the ridiculousness of it all.
And this all starts because they didn't mind their business.
Yes.
They saw their wedding DJ outside. What did they say? She was like smoking heroin or something. I don't know.
Hey, we don't know what it was.
I would have just left that alone. I'd be like, well, is she high when I'm doing business with her? No. Okay.
You're good then. But yes, the drama. What a time. Definitely I mean, this was rated R. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
This is not for younger folks, potentially, but
I think important. A 16-year-old could watch this.
Okay, fair enough. I can agree with that.
I would have watched this at 14 and been fine. I think it depends on the person.
Fair. Yeah. I'm going to give this a thumbs up. I had a good time. The drama did not disappoint.
Me too. I'm going to give the drama, I'm going to give it a 95%.
Yes, I'm going to give it a 90. I think also the trailer was great in setting it up, high stakes, but not revealing what the movie was.
Anything.
It's such an issue with trailers nowadays, giving away basically gives you a summary of what the whole story is going to be.
On Rotten Tomatoes, the drama has a 77%.
Oh.
Much too low. It's worth more hype than that.
Absolutely. No, I would rate this much higher. I think I can understand if this storyline makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but it is supposed to. It's supposed to. Go in with an open mind.
Yeah, it's great.
I think we're ending on a high note. The drama, what a time.
And if we're ranking the movies for the week.
Okay.
I think mine is pretty clear. I'm going to say the drama. I'm going to say Avatar, Maddie's Secret, and then all the way at the bottom is The Devil Wears Prada 2.
I am going to match that exactly.
I liked all three of those movies, and then there's The Devil Wears Prada 2.
The drama it's very unique.
It is. The editing is so good.
I hope this gets some nominations. Acting, probably, you're right. The acting was great. It's realistic.
You were asking at the beginning of the movie, you said, is Zendaya a good actor? To which I said, yes, of course. She's phenomenal in Euphoria.
I just don't like Euphoria. I'm jaded.
How do you feel about Zendaya as an actor after the drama?
Better.
I know her role or her character wasn't as flashy and weird little guy as Robert Pattinson. I know you gravitate more towards that.
He's just a weird little guy. Just a little gremlin running around. That's fun.
But no, I love Zendaya.
Can't wait to see what happens in the drama too. What does she get up to next?
But
yeah, give it a watch. We had a pretty good week, all in all.
Yeah.
One stinker, but
3 out of 4. That's a good week.
I'll take it.
And we'll be back next week with 2 new movies and one we'll go back to 1991. I know it's been a minute.
We got some variety coming up. Thanks for listening, guys. It was a fun week.
Yeah. And with that, goodbye.
Love you.